Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. I'm Steve Hood. Delighted Errol Smith is back alongside me yet again.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Yes,
and
brother.
we've got Dan Club over at the board as well. Dan, a virtual fist bump for you. I can't physically do, but yeah, we got you over there, yes. Errol, good summer, nice to be back.
It's boss to be back.
Have a good break, a nice break.
It wasn't, yeah, it's not, I mean, you don't really have a break. We've still been jumping on content online and stuff like that, which has been good fun. A few new faces, a few new shows, so I've enjoyed that. But yeah, it's just been nice to not be as immersed as probably you guys have had to be in the last couple of weeks. And I've been able to kind of take a step back and just kind of watch the reactions instead of having to voice too many opinions.
You don't look as jaded as I do over the beard and the hair is on point.
Bro, I had to get a little shit. I thought if it's the first one for the season and I'm going to be in 4K, I need to be
not out of place.
Not
on today. Yeah, today the barber done me nice. And big up the barber as well because he's a Liverpool fan. He was in his Liverpool shirt this morning, so he was made up. So yeah, it's just nice to be back in studio with the lights, with the lads. Hopefully Liverpool can kind of restore some good factor feelings as well, because I think that's what, as the fans now, it's the footy that needs to do the talking. So I'm ready for it, and I hope everybody else is as well.
No, yeah, man, I don't have to go to the barbers for the morning. But I did shave my head this morning. Every other morning I do, man. It's just a little
big job.
No, it's like, well, lefty razor, jobs are good, and here we go, moving on. Right then, anyway, enough of my hair, or lack of hair. We're going to be speaking about Liverpool versus Bournemouth team news. What we do know is that Wataru Endo is involved in the Liverpool squad. His international clearance arrived in time. Looks like he's probably going to take his place on the bench. But other than that, who is and isn't available for this game? Who better to ask than Jurgen Klopp? Here's what the gaffer had to say at his latest press conference.
The problem what we have in the moment a little bit is now, Endo is now in and he's allowed to train this afternoon. If he's allowed to participate in the game tomorrow, I don't know. We will see that. On top of that, Stefan Bajcetic is really close, but not there yet. Obviously, we really count on him. Thiago Alcantara, same, slightly similar profile, obviously much more experienced as well, is in, but not there yet. So we need just give to them time. We cannot rush that. That ball will look completely different after the international break, but until then we have super important games. So we have solutions for our situation, just not available in the moment, and that's why we need to sort it in a slightly different way. And this is always an opportunity. You can always play it like that. It's a way Chelsea, the perfect moment to do it. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, it's a way you, in a lineup, in a setup, you can definitely play and win football games. And so, yes, everybody will benefit from a player whose first idea is to protect everything what we do offensively. He's involved in offensive stuff, but then has the heart, the desire, and enjoys that as well to clean up behind them. So, and of course that will be helpful.
Yeah, there you have it then. No Stefan Bajcetic, no Thiago. Obviously, we've been told Curtis Jones is unavailable as well. So, Dan, I'm going to come over to you, mate. The rumours are, and again, we'll clarify this later, Liverpool are going to go unchanged, with the only change to the bench, of course, the injured Curtis Jones coming in for Endo, who we can see we didn't have time to make a card for, so he's got a special little... is that a heart?
Well, I'll give him a love heart because it was very... I mean, there's not much love going on without it, is there? Let's be honest. So it was so, out of the blue, the signing. We've not made anything for him, so I've given him a love heart at the very least.
I think we'll promise by the next game we'll have an Endo card ready and made to go. But Dan, I'll stick with you, mate. Yeah. Unchanged, it looks like... Yeah. Again, this isn't clarified yet. The official team news will be out in about 11 minutes' time or so, mate. But are you surprised that Liverpool are going to go unchanged or no? Basically.
No, I am a little bit, to be honest with you, mate. Yeah, I thought there would be a couple of changes. Obviously, the DM factor, we haven't been able to sort of solve that just yet. The signing of Endo is a huge way to answering that dilemma, but obviously he might not have even trained yesterday, more than likely didn't, doing all his media duties and his medical stuff. Probably hasn't kicked the ball for Liverpool in training yet, so no huge surprise that he's only on the bench. He probably only found out this morning we could even put him on the bench. So, and obviously with Jones not being available, no Bajcetic, no Thiago, there's not a lot else we could have done here, I guess. I'm surprised Gakpo is involved again in the midfield, to be fair. I think we might have pushed him further forward or maybe took him out the side altogether. Harvey Elliott was brilliant when he came on last week. He might have been in line for a start. He probably would have been knocking at Jurgen Klopp's door all week, but probably saying, get me involved in the first 11. I probably deserve it. But he hasn't been granted that either. And with the front line, Diaz obviously had to stay in the side after scoring his goal. Mohamed Salah, obviously Mohamed Salah, strop away all you like, my mate, you're still starting next week. Jota is the one for me. I felt like Darwin Nunez would come in for this game. It felt like a game that he has to be starting these games of football, really, in many ways. We've got a really sort of wealth of attacking options, of course. We have Diogo Jota's boss. I think he's superb. I don't think he had his best game against Chelsea by any stretch of imagination. And if Darwin Nunez isn't getting started in these games of football, you do start to wonder what's his role going to be further down the line. So I did expect a couple of changes. No huge surprises with those two. Definitely no surprises with the back five. But Gakpo staying in the midfield and Jota staying in the side has shocked me a little bit.
On that, Errol, I thought he might have made a couple of changes. I thought maybe he took Gakpo out of midfield. The opposite point of view is he thought that was his best team a week ago, and nothing's changed. Like at the beginning of the season against Chelsea, Jurgen could obviously the players who were fit and available, and you can include Curtis Jones, who at the time was fit and available. Jurgen picked that he thought that was his best 11 at the time. A draw against Stamford Bridge, if you think about it, and a week's rest, it's probably logical that if it was his best 11 a week ago to play Chelsea away, why isn't it the best 11 to play Bournemouth at home, I suppose?
I get that. I think the probably it's going to be a recurring theme this season. There's going to be a lot more questions around Klopp's team selections. I think he's going to come into question quite a bit this season over either the style that we play or the formation that we kind of set up with until we're really settled. And I've been one of them that said, look, until I see this new midfield really gel and get a run of games together, I'm going to kind of reserve judgment on how good this Liverpool side may be for us this season. But definitely, I agree, over the last space of a week, there wasn't going to be much change. And I think in terms of being able to start to build a little bit of consistency, you've kind of got to let people get their rhythm as well. You've kind of got to let people get that Premier League fitness into the legs. It's all well and good having a pre-season, but until you've had 4 or 5 games as a bit of a run out, you're not really going to understand where your levels are at and fully be able to, not necessarily hit the ground running, but fully be able to kind of kick on a little bit. I think there was some bright performances in early parts of last week's game, but it faded, which to me suggests that they've not really got that level of fitness yet. So if they're going to be the core players that he uses for the majority of the Prem, he's going to want those to be as match fit as possible for as long as possible. A couple of those lads are going to have to do 90-minute shifts for a large part of this season. So the sooner that they're able to do it and their bodies are robust enough to be able to do it, touch wood, no injuries and stuff like that, I think that's why he's going early with, right, I want to keep using the same legs. Let's not need as much rotation until we actually going to start needing it for the Europa League, and we're going to start using it for the League Cup. Let these lads start kicking on now, and I think that's probably the thinking behind it a little bit, maybe.
And like I say, it's a week between games, pretty much. There's no midweek games for a while. Liverpool go to play today, then they play next weekend against Newcastle, then it's the weekend after against Villa. They've got rest, so Jurgen's, if he thinks that's his best 11, then that's what he thinks. We've had a super chat from Neil O'Callaghan, a bit of positivity for once. I hope for a good win today, and I hope Endo proves me wrong. I'm guessing you were an Endo doubter, Neil. Andy App says, Sterl's back. Welcome back, Errol. It's good to see you.
Yes, bro. Thank you.
Sterl.
I know we need to be. I don't know how much.
It's still
it is, isn't it?
It's definitely a thing. It is a thing.
I'll take it. But I won't take, what I won't take is people telling me that I go to Logi for my haircuts, because that's out of order, and I definitely don't. Just for the record, I definitely don't go to Logi for my haircuts.
It's borderline racism.
And that as well, to be fair.
The black guy must go to Logi to get his haircut.
There are other barbers in Liverpool that can, do a good for him.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Again, I don't really partake, but I'm aware of these things. Dan, I'll come over to you. The bench then, very similar. Of course, Endo's on it with his little love out there.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. Is it McConnell's the other one who we might not have a thing for?
Yeah, I was thinking it might be him too. We didn't check that draw last week. We need to check that.
We've had a week. Someone probably should have done this. It's fine. We move on. Darwin on the bench again. We've got Elliott on the bench. We've got Ben Doak again. So Liverpool do have attacking options.
Yeah.
Endo now gives you a genuine midfield option as well over McConnell, I guess. I know he was there anyway. So I suppose the two ways looking at it is, for those lads who are on the bench, you're going to get your chance probably against a bit of a ragged Bournemouth. You'd hope that Liverpool give them a bit of a run around, or at least made them work for it. So even if you are Darwin or Harvey or Ben Doak, like there is a chance to come on here. Hopefully when the lads have got a bit of miles into the Bournemouth legs, and they'll be disappointed, especially Darwin, not to be starting, but he's got to be on point, because he's going to, there's a good chance. Those three at least I mentioned are all probably going to get some game time.
Yeah, you would imagine so, yeah. And I think last week's game was interesting. I said during the match through there when I sat with Chloe, I wasn't sure it felt like a Bendo type game. It wasn't stretched enough. Chelsea weren't leaving enough space in behind, but yet Jurgen Klopp still entrusted him with going on there and trying to impact it. It didn't work out like that, of course, but he clearly has total faith in Bendo, and he obviously takes Mohamed Salah off for him. That just shows you how highly he rates him. So I imagine a game like today, and actually Harvey Elliott in particular was able to sort of change the dynamic of that match at Chelsea. His energy and sort of his relentless running round really got us back on the front foot, which was massive. But like I say, a game like today against Bournemouth, hopefully they put to bed by sort of the hour mark and we can make changes, be quite relaxed about it. We don't need to actually change the direction of the football match. But you'd imagine the likes of Nunez, Doak and Elliott have got a nicely group there. Those three, yes, he would have wanted to start the game, of course he would, particularly him in my opinion, and a little bit of Darwin Nunez. Ben Doak knows his role, he knows he's going to be coming into games, it's domestic cups, it's Europa League, he knows what he's doing, he'll just be glad to be there, he's 17 years old, he's in the squad for a game at Anfield, like what more could you want? But Elliott, Nunez and Doak should all be looking at this and going, we could easily be 2, possibly 3-0 up, all being well, by 60, 70 minutes gone. They can come in and have a field day against tired Bournemouth legs, him especially. I've kind of earmarked Ben Doak all pre-season for when Mohamed Salah's ran at the left back for 70 minutes. You throw Ben Doak into that situation, he could cause absolute carnage. So very exciting, decent options elsewhere. But yeah, I think Endo's the one. I would like to see him get 10, 15 minutes just because hopefully a no pressure situation, hopefully the game's wrapped up and he can just get his Liverpool career off and running.
Especially at home as well.
Get it in early, yeah.
I don't think he's played at Anfield before at all, by the way. Not
really, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought so, yeah.
And the opportunity to have people backing you a little bit as your first game, you know what I mean? Because I think, you know, internet noise is internet noise, but when all said and done, when you put on that Liverpool shirt, everyone's going to give you the run of the green. Go and prove and show us what you're capable of doing. I had a question for you though, Dan, real quick. What's Nunez got to do to break into that starting 11 then for you, or for just for you really?
Yeah, honestly, mate, that's a real tough one because, like I said, today for me, especially if we've been going with Gakpo in midfield, that feels to me like a dynamic that can work. Because you've got Nunez running behind and Gakpo occupies this space here, so that makes a lot of sense. Whereas with a Jota type, it's a little bit congested in here for me. So if Nunez can't start this game, what he's got to do, quite frankly, and the bottom line is when he comes into matches, he's got to make it count. He's got to be scoring goals, he's got to be taking his opportunities, and when he gets to sight a goal, he's got to be punishing the teams, and he's not been doing that enough for me during his Liverpool career, basically, and he didn't do it at Chelsea last week particularly either. So that's all it's down to, I think.
Do you think as a striker though, there are certain strikers that are more impactful off the bench?
Yeah, but I think he's one.
He's more impactful off the bench.
I think Jota's one.
So that's what I'm saying. So for me, Nunez is the type of striker for me. If you don't start him, he's not really going to come off the bench and set the world light. He's got to run a defensive line ragged and create some sort of carnage, and that to kind of build himself into the game. With 20 minutes left to go, 25 minutes left to go, I don't know if he has enough opportunity to really do that when the game's already kind of set its own pace. And that's my worry. Are we getting it the wrong way round with our number 9 at the minute?
I think we might be, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think we might be.
Jota's a good sub, innit?
That's what I'm thinking. Jota to me seems like
sub.
If you need a goal, throw Jota on. But if you want to start a game and you kind of want to be the flying reds and all the rest of it.
Yeah. The problem Nunez has got though, and it's still so evident to see, is he doesn't fully understand the pressing. We commented last week before the Chelsea match, what Klopp had done here is picked his 4 best pressers in those lads. Yeah. They're his 4 best forward pressers, and it paid dividends for half an hour at Chelsea. We were the better team, they couldn't live with us. Conor Gallagher was nowhere. We were brilliant. And he's kind of gone with that again today. Whether you need that against Bournemouth is a different question. Nunez's issue, and he did it again last week when he came on, is he presses, but he presses on his own. Nobody goes with him, and that's not because we don't want to or they're not willing to. He doesn't understand when to go and when not to go. He just chases people down, which is great because the enthusiasm's there and you're wanting to be running. Like, we absolutely lauded the kite forever because he never stopped running. Yeah. Darwin Nunez is in a similar vein in terms of his willingness to put the effort in is absolutely clear to see, but he does it with no cohesion with anybody else at the minute. So
he's a lone ranger,
an understanding of that.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. Like I say, I'm sure he'll get his chance. I'm sure he'll get on the pitch, and it's up to him to take it when he gets on there. I'm still a big Jota fan. I think that is Liverpool's probably best front three at the moment. Okay. Especially if Gakpo's playing in midfield, which again I'm not that sure about. I said I wouldn't have done that. I'd have played Harvey. I think about Gakpo or Jota up front. I didn't like the balance of it, but
wouldn't you not have, last week? Would you not have had Jones? Because for me, Like there was a conversation where it was like, was it the Chelsea game? Was that in April that we played Chelsea back end of last season? Was it early April? And it was a terrible game, but Jones started. That was like the run that Jones started for us, weren't it, really? Yeah. And obviously he kicks on from there, and you'd think that was his job, really, to kind of, over the summer, bed down that left. So to me, to say that Gakpo was kind of trumped you in a position that you are a centre mid. Gakpo's not a centre mid in that same way. So for Gakpo to be effectively stealing your spot, I know today's obviously different because he's unable to play, so he's not available. But the suggestion would be, even if he was available, Gakpo would still probably be in that position. So to me, there's a question mark over, can Jones really force himself into that starting 11 in that particular position, especially while we've not got a nailed on DM. And we seen it last week where Chelsea, that would have been the game for me. So I'm with you, Steve. I'm not 100% sure that Gakpo is best suited for that left-hand side of that centre mid role.
You're right. The team's out. The interesting one is that it isn't McConnell. Stefan Bajcetic is fit enough to take his place.
I had him on the bench. You noticed that?
Yeah, so
you know what gave it away? His Instagram story.
When he put
the match day thing.
So that is the difference there. So
go on, Stefan.
And we've got him. We've got him.
Go on.
We've gone from no DMs to two on the bench now. Like London buses, DMs are like London buses. Dan, then do you want to just run us through one more time with the team on the bench?
Yes, mate, of course. Yeah, unchanged from last week and the 1-1 draw with Chelsea. Alisson in goal, obviously. Andy Robbo, who made his debut today, actually. I think it's 6 years since he made his debut for Liverpool. Wow. Andy Robbo at left back. Captain Virgil van Dijk for the first time at Anfield, as official Liverpool captain, of course. Ibu Konate, Trent, I always say it, right back, going into there a lot. McAllister in the 6. Szoboszlai, who debut at Anfield. Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Mohamed Salah make up the 11. And on the bench, we've got Kelleher, Joel Matip, Gomez, Tsimikas, Darwin Nunez, Ben Doak, Harvey Elliott, Stefan Bajcetic is back from injury as well, and the new lad Endo is in there.
Brilliant. Yeah, so there we go. Then that is Liverpool's 11. Like we thought it was. The rumours were correct. The only thing we got wrong, of course, the return and the welcome return of Stefan Bajcetic, another one who I'd love to see get some minutes. Dan's mentioned before, that's mad because these lads have been, Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister, they've been signed for ages, but it is Anfield debut. They've made the Liverpool debuts, but like that's the, and again, both played at Anfield before, but their Anfield debuts to Liverpool. Liverpool have got 2 home debuts there. They've got another lad on the bench as well. It's a big occasion for both of those. And what have you made of both of them so far, McAllister and Szoboszlai?
I've said it already, to be honest with you, because I thought, in terms of our business early in the transfer window, getting those 2 players in looked like we was cooking. It looked like we were serious in terms of the objectives were very clear. We needed to reshape that midfield. We needed someone that could kind of come in the McAllister, like, kind of mould, someone who's going to be really tied on the ball, can actually spray a pass as we've seen in the game last week. He can find his man and he'll be he'll retain the ball quite well. Szoboszlai, I don't fully understand, I'll be honest, I don't fully understand what type of 80 is yet. I've seen clips and highlights and I know he can score a screamer every now and again. However, I'm going to hold out to say how effective he's going to be yet, because for me, and we said it last season, that right-hand side in that 3 is such a difficult role to play. We've seen how burnt out in the end Henderson looked playing it. I still don't think Harvey Elliott is the guy for that particular role. So it's an important role, obviously linking up with Trent and then obviously Salah on that right-hand side. And there's a lot of times where you've kind of got to do half of Trent's work on the covering side of things with Konate as well. So it'll be interesting. He looks like he's got the physicality for it for me, and he looks like it out of the 2. If we're asking anyone to kind of make those late runs into the box or make runs and kind of drive towards goal, he looks like he could be that midfielder. He looks like he can take a man on, leave a man in his wake, and hopefully create opportunities for the forward line. So I think they're both very good signings and more of what we need. I'll be honest with you though, mate. Right now in this Liverpool midfield, the best attribute is availability. If you're available to get on the pitch and Klopp rates you and you're at that level, I'll happily take you, because we've sat there and watched too many seasons now where we know we've got players with an abundance of talent. They've just not been able to get enough minutes out of them on the pitch. So for me,
2 games in 4 years.
As well, saying the 3 we've signed, that is one of the key things. So obviously I won a bad injury once, but that was one of them.
Yeah, it's a freak.
Touch wood, McAllister and Endo play a lot of footy. You are right, and they say availability is key for Liverpool. See what they do in the rest of the window. We've had a super chat from Trig Josh. Says, hi Redmen, Errol, you're looking sharp with your new hairdo.
Respect, bro. Thank
Steve,
you.
are you all right, mate? I'm great, thanks, Josh. Dan, he says, I've not talked to you yet, I don't think, but Steve'll fill you in. I don't know what that means.
Fill me in. Craig David, what have we got?
Off show. He said, I hope you enjoyed the game today, Dan. I can't wait to fill you in.
Nice one,
I'll be filling you in
again.
All over the place later on today. Let's have a little look at the Bournemouth team then. It surprised me really. They've got Senesite, who's fit and available. He went off injured last week, so that's the main talking point, I guess. So they've got Neto in goal, a back four of Aarons, Zabarini. Senesite, like I said before, is back from injury, which is a bit of a surprise. There was some doubts about him. Kirkes at left back. And midfield, well, it's 4-2-3-1. So you've got Rothwell and Philip. That's Philip Billing, of course. Ryan Christie in the number 10. Semenyo and Anthony either side of Dominic Solanke, with a bench of Radu, Mepham, Hill, Kelly, Kilkenny, Brooks, Clivert, Traore and Kiefer Moore. So Bournemouth, I think I'm right in saying, they've gone unchanged as well from their 1-1 draw. I can't see any changes there to the team that they had out last week. Now, last week, they played footy against West Ham. It was the most possession Bournemouth have had for a long time, compared to what they were like under Gary O'Neill. Iriola's got them wanting to be on. Again, they're home to West Ham. It's different than being away at Anfield. But he's picked the exact same 11 in the exact same formation, which goes to think it looks like he's coming to play footy. He's not coming to park a bus. You don't park a bus with a 4-2-3-1 and an out number 10. Like Bournemouth are coming to play and coming to attack us.
And I think teams will, until they understand the danger that this Liverpool team possess, teams will want to play us. Yeah. We've almost lost that fear factor really, and that advantage that we've had in previous seasons of teams knowing if we come to Anfield, we're in for a hiding, so it's better we just get men behind the ball. Those days are behind us for now. Teams will eventually see and assess how dangerous this Liverpool team can be, and they might then reconsider how they approach games. But for now, early stages of the season, they've got nothing to lose by playing and seeing how far or how close they are in terms of their overall season aspirations to top teams, quote unquote. Liverpool is still a top side, make no bones about it. However, there is still going to be that, let's challenge them, let's see how close we can keep it. Did they get a hiding to us last season?
9. This game last year. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, they'll want to improve on that, definitely, but equally as well, they will also want to see where will we, when the chips are down, where are we going to end up falling in the league? And if we can hold our own against Liverpool, this for morale, this for our own momentum, will be good for us. So we don't lose anything by giving it a go at this stage in the season. And I think that it's a bold move from their perspective, but I think that's the right move to take at the minute. There's no chess games going on. Everybody should see everybody as their equals until you can kind of start to see the pecking order in the Prem all over again.
Yeah, I mentioned before, I thought it was going to change. Brooks started last week in place of Semenyo, so there's one change, one for attacking. It's a very attacking lineup. Dan, I'll come over to you then, mate. That team you've got there, it looks like I say, Bournemouth are going to be 4-2-3-1. Yeah. Now, at times, that does give them the advantage to go 4-5-1 and leave Dominic Solanke on his own up front, and he did a job on us, actually, in the away game. I know you went down to Dean Court in the away game when they beat us. Yeah. But Liverpool, in theory, it feels like there's going to be space and there's going to be chances to counter press against a midfield two of Rothwell and Philip Billing. Like again, you mentioned before, Liverpool swarmed Conor Gallagher last week. That team that is behind you there, that front six is a very strong pressing side. I'm guessing that's probably what we're going to see again today. They're going to be at least out the blocks, same again, go and get all over Bournemouth early doors, especially if they are going to try and play footy and play out like it looks like they probably will.
Well, that's clearly why he's chosen this 11. That's clearly what Jurgen Klopp believes that Bournemouth are going to come and try and do. And I think you're right. I think Iriola's appointment was always one with sort of Bournemouth progressing as a football club in mind. Gary O'Neill did a brilliant job in keeping Bournemouth up last season. So you'd imagine, I think everyone would have imagined he'd just stayed on. But instead, the new owners they've got there made the decision to try and advance what they're doing as a side. And I suppose fair play to them. Iriola's record against Barcelona, Vallecano and Real Madrid was actually really good in La Liga. So we do have to be wary of that. But I do think that they are going to come and try and play, which I always think suits us down to the ground. But as you say, I think Klopp expects that as well. Hence choosing the same 11. Hence choosing the best pressers again. He thinks Bournemouth are going to try and play, so we're going to try and swarm them and nick the ball back and go from there, which is absolutely the right way of going about it. One thing I do want to say, this midfield has a lot of physicality, especially those two lads. McAllister gets stuck in, don't get me wrong, but he's not as big a presence as them. And last year, that game you mentioned, the Bournemouth game when they beat us 1-0, Dominic Solanke did have a field day. He was brilliant actually that day. But
he gave Van Dijk a torrid time.
They were miles better than we were, yeah. But what what lost that game for us and won it for them was the midfield. And we knew that last year anyway. That's not me being some sort of genius. But Philip Billing absolutely mauled Harvey Elliott.
Was it Lerma as well? Did he have
Lerma as well, a little bit, mate. But I watched a bit up close and personal Billing all over Harvey Elliott. And I like Harvey Elliott if he's a good player. But I said in our match preview this week, he can't start this game because Billing's just bigger than him. He's just much, much bigger than him, and he's physically imposing, and Elliott won't get a kick. So I'm not massively surprised that he's gone with that, because those lads will stand up to be tested against him. They'll put a shoulder in themselves, so it doesn't shock me that both sides have gone with the approach that they have.
No, and I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting game of footy. I think there's going to be goals. I think there's definitely goals on Liverpool's side, and I think Bournemouth will come into play as well.
I think we're going to say that all season. I think
well,
yeah.
Until we saw something out with possibly Endo, possibly
no,
somebody else.
What I would say though, mate, I'm just talking about Liverpool point of view. I think there's goals in us. There's a lot of goals. I know we scored 9 against these last year, and that's unrealistic to expect the same again. But in theory, there's a lot of goals in this side, Errol. And speaking of that 9-0, some of those players have changed. There's a new manager, of course. They've had 2 new managers since then. That was the end of Scotty Parker and his jar card. They've moved on a lot. But I always think, like, there's a way where you can open up old wounds very, very quickly. I used to think there's certain games where Liverpool, Norwich, for example, you just... I know,
unravel.
It was very much Luis Suarez driven, but like you could tell as soon as the fair, it was like, oh, there we go again. Now, but granted to Bournemouth, and credit to them, they beat Liverpool at the Court, but the last time some of these players came to Anfield, they got embarrassed. Like 9-0 is an embarrassing scoreline. That's that you can open old wounds up very, very quickly with a bright start. Similar to Chelsea, where Liverpool were out the blocks flying. If you do that to these, there is a chance where they go, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah, absolutely, and I hope so, mate. And I think not just for today's game, but I've said it a couple of times already. I think the options that we've got for our forward line are probably the best in the league. I say that I think Newcastle are dark horses, and they're quite scary the way that they've been playing over the last 8-12 months nearly now. But I think the levels of Salah, regardless of whoever's starting through the middle, they're going to be quality. And I think Diaz has got a big season, and if we can keep him fit, he's my one to watch, because I've been not critical of him, but I just want him to be more cohesive with the system, as opposed to just being a bit of a star boy in a kind of in his own light. So I still think we've got to frighten him from 5 potentially. On the day we could bring in any of front 3, but on the day there's 5 that you could pick from. And I just expect goals, especially until, as Dan said, until we sort out a midfielder as well, someone who can really be an anchor. We're going to have to be top heavy and rely on blowing teams away. And I don't mind. I am really excited for this season on the basis that I think we're going to be very expansive going forward. We're going to create a lot of chances and score a lot of goals from all over the park. It's just defensively, I'm not 100% sure if we can keep the door locked, or is there going to be enough game management. But only time will tell, innit?
We'll find out how it goes, yeah. Someone's going to have to do a job on Ryan Christie, try and keep Tom Solanke quiet as the lone striker. Very, very quick one before we go. I want to bring the stats up here from Michael Reid. Trent Alexander-Arnold's playing his 200th top-flight game for Liverpool today. He's the fourth youngest player to reach that milestone for the Reds, behind Michael Owen, Tommy Smith and Emlyn Hughes. Like, with all due respect, I mean, 2 legends of the football club. It should have been 3. Michael Owen kind of tarnished that, but at the time, young Michael Owen was an absolute sensation. He gets there younger than Steven Gerrard by about 30 days, younger than Steve McManaman as well. Like, we sometimes forget about Alexander-Arnold. His 200th Premier League game for a team who's been fighting most of that time near the top of the league. Errol, he's only 24 years and 316 days old. Like, he's unbelievable.
He's a phenom. He's a generational talent, and the only reason he gets the kind of the critics that he gets is simply because he's been so good from so young. Normally, you either kind of fizzle out, or you have one big breakout season, and everyone will love you. Like the way Saka is, everybody loves Saka right now for Arsenal. Give Saka another 2 years of doing what he'll do, and you'll start to find detractors that'll say, oh, he doesn't do this, or they'll start to find holes in his game. And I think that's what people do where it's Trent, because he's been so consistent and a genuine world-class talent. Forget the whole positioning thing. If you just look at the lad and the talent and the ability, from an England perspective, from a Liverpool perspective, he has been absolutely generational, as you said, in that list there. And for me, mate, he's already a Liverpool legend.
Yeah.
Like, he could hang up his boots tomorrow, and for me, we'll still be talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold for the next 20 to 30 years. So I think he is an absolutely phenomenal player. And this season, again, like the Diaz, we're in a system now which is heavily reliant on his ability to be able to drift into that half space and get more on the ball in a midfield area. The rest of the team, it's going to take time for us to work out the best and how we get the best out of him to be able to do that. But we are going to be expecting so much from Trent this season, and I think he's due for an absolute belter of a season, if you ask me.
I also think today, I think last week he got stuck because Liverpool didn't have the ball, and Jürgen called it a joke that we only had 35%.
Oh, mate, it was horrible to watch.
So he was a right back last week.
Yeah, he was.
I think today Liverpool should have more of the ball, and therefore you should see more of Trent, the midfielder, drifting inside.
Because we didn't see it, did we? Like last week,
Mate, he couldn't
because he didn't get the ball. None of them could though. Like, and that's fair play to Chelsea at the time. They for whatever reason, it seemed to gel for them. They seemed to work out our midfield system. They obviously targeted Gakpo a little bit and Robertson on their side. So obviously Trent's almost redundant. Then he's out of the game. He's out the picture. But in this game, mate, as you say, you'd expect Trent to see plenty of the ball, and if you do, he's going to dominate it. He's going to dictate the play, dictate the tempo, and hopefully he'll be in a position to be able to create a bit for the front line.
He very rarely got into those midfield positions, and the one time he did, he set a goal up that was like a yard offside, and you saw the quality he's got. I imagine we'll see that today. Right then, going to start wrapping up there very, very quickly before we go. I'm going to get some score predictions from you guys. You guys in the live chat as well right now, let me know some of your score predictions. Once I've asked Dan and I've asked Errol, I will read some of yours out too. So Dan, score prediction, how you've seen the teams. I think you went for 3-0 the other day, didn't you, on the build-up show? Have you changed your mind now?
No, I'll stick with 3-0. I'm happy with that side. 3-0. Let's go for it.
We're not keeping the back door shut for at least 4 or 5 games, so they're going to score 1. It'll be 3-1.
I said 2-0 on the build-up show. I'm going to go again, and I'm going to stick with 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
A goal in either half. A relatively comfortable
Szoboszlai first goal for Liverpool.
Okay, shout from Dan.
Do you know what though? If he scored the screamer on his day, I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
was it that Tonali who did it for Newcastle the other day and just absolutely blasted himself into the box? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's that kind of guy. I'm here for it.
Algebro's gone for 9-0 again. I mean, does lightning strike twice? I don't know. 4-1 plays he gave it. 4-0 from Tariq. Big Will's gone for 3-0. Ant's gone for 3-1. There's loads more in there as well. Emmett's gone for 4-1 and Stan's gone for 3-2. That'll be an interesting game if that's the case. Right then, guys, thank you so much for joining us for the Uncensored Match Build-Up Show. We'll be back in about 30 minutes time for the watch-along. So yes, join us. Now, I know the game isn't streaming live on UK TV, but luckily me and Errol and Dan have already made our way here to Morocco. So we're here just chilling in Marrakesh, waiting for you guys to come and join so we can have the game on in the background live, and therefore we can bring you the watch-along as well. So yeah, come and join us in about 30 minutes time here on the exact same channel. Go and get yourselves a drink, go and get yourselves a little bite to eat. Come back, we'll have the full, uninterrupted, biased commentary of Liverpool versus Bournemouth. See you in a bit.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the show. You're amazing. And if you want to signify your legendary status, then head over to redmenplus.com. Join as a legend tier subscriber. Not only you get all of the great video and podcast content, you'll also be entered into our monthly prize draw for great signed Liverpool gear. And you'll get access to our Discord as well, full of amazing Liverpool supporting human beings. Head to redmenplus.com and join as a legend tier today.